So how many tulips are planted in here?
About this year we have like 14,000 total. It's
40,000 total?
14.
14,000.
Yeah. We scaled down a lot. We used to put like 50,000, but yeah, we're like changing a bit the strategy, going more into flower seed growing, and doing a little bit less cut flowers. So we have some outside and some in the caterpillar tunnel. And normally we do some in the cold frames also, the cold greenhouses, but not this year. So normally we would be harvesting at this time.
At this time,
Tulips.
which right now it's April 19th.
I'm turning 40 today.
Wow!
Happy birthday to me!
Why do you do it in 3 different locations or 2 locations?
Yeah, good question, because when in tulips you can choose different varieties based on different blooming time. So you have the early ones, the mid and the late ones. So you can choose inside the variety some balance between like the blooming time, so you don't get one big harvest. And you can also stack the harvest by planting them in different locations. So inside the cold greenhouse, there's 2 layers of plastic, so it traps the heat more. Mm-hmm. So they are the first one to bloom. The early, mid and late, they will bloom first in the cold greenhouse. And then after we do the same thing, we plant early, mid, late in the caterpillar tunnel. And then same thing outside. So we get like 3 times of harvest, 3 different times of harvest, and it elongates the harvest. So we don't get one big harvest at one time only.
But all of them, it's really, really early in the season, which is one of the big advantages of this, right?
It is. It's the first thing that we harvest, besides sometimes narcissus that comes super early also. These ones are outside. They're like treated as perennials, so they come back every year. Mm. And also, so it can be super easy. We plant tulips in fall, and then we do nothing. We barely check them in the cold greenhouse, check for the moisture, but there's a tarp on it until we see some green coming up in the springtime. Then we take off the tarp. And if they lack some water at one point, we put a little bit, but there's nothing much to do. Then plant them and harvest them after. So it's super easy. It can be a little bit expensive to buy the bulbs, because we try to get like the fancy varieties, the double ones, specialty tulips that we don't see often in florist or grocery stores. So they can be a little bit more expensive, but it's worth the extra $1 you pay at buying the bulbs. Mm. And we treat them as annual also, so we don't get to use the bulbs more than once.
I do want to ask you more about that. Could we actually go see the ones that look almost ready over there?
They're on the verge of opening up. They are exotic emperor, the variety. And they open, this one is always the first, besides Nordcap, that is also super early. They're like the second one to bloom every year. And they bloom really fast. When they're ready, there's a bit of a sun ray coming, and then poof, they all open. So many times a day I come and I just take a look at them. We can see that like they start to like, this is really tight and not colored at all. But this one's like the sepals and the petals are starting to open a bit, and we can see the color white. They're white ones. So it's gonna be, maybe if it's sunny today, they'll start to open. I always wait, like if there's like say 10 or 15 that opens completely. First of all, to do videos and photos for the social media to promote them. And also it gives me like really the good indication. It's like the perfect indication that it's ready. When you have a few that are all open. The thing is, when we harvest like all this patch of exotic emperor, I will harvest in one time. So some are a little bit too early, but we harvest with the bulbs attached, so they'll continue to mature more slowly, but they'll continue to mature in the cold room. Okay. So the ones that are too early, I'll leave them a little bit longer in the cold room, but I can like slow them down so they don't all open all at once.
Yeah, I'm wondering about the timing in terms of harvest and selling, because Mother's Day is really
around the corner.
That's the big ticket item, right?
Yeah, it's the biggest day for flower farmer.
Of the whole year?
Yeah.
And it's in May. Okay. So how do you make sure that everything is at the right stage so that when people are buying it and taking it home on that one day, that everything is at its peak?
In a bouquet, usually we want to have some open and some that are not open to like for people to see what it's gonna be, because if every flower is really close, tight, it's not appealing. They don't see what they're gonna get and they won't buy it. So that's perfect to have like different kind of stages of maturity in one harvest. And tulips, they store really well in the cold room, like for 2-3 weeks easily. Wow. So we can like play with that, with the stocks that we have in the cold room. Take the ones that are close to be ready, put them in bouquet, send them out week after week, and then we can like take always the ones that are perfect.
And does the cold room basically keep them from opening up, and once they're out in warmth it'll...
They still mature in the cold room, but they won't like bloom open. But when they're ready, as soon as they get out, a few hours later, they'll open for the first time. Okay. We don't want them to be opening like twice and then harvest them and then put them in the cold room.
Yeah, I understand.
We want to harvest them when they're colored, but still closed.
And I guess it naturally just comes out around the time right before Mother's Day.
If we didn't have like the caterpillar tunnel and the cold greenhouse, it would be a little bit tricky, because it's the ones outside they're ready around the 10-15 of May, and it's a bit too late. Yeah. So by having like plastic structure, it really ensures us that we're gonna have the harvest at the right time. And since you can like store them really well in cold frames, in a cold room, we want to have them like a week or two even before, so we're sure to have them. We can start a little bit of sales, and we can store them, and they'll continue to mature and be super nice and ready and perfect for Mother's Day.
And how much do you sell them, like per stem on average, or how do the numbers work?
Yeah, so we sell them $2.50 a stem, and we found that it's a great balance between we selling them actually and people buying them, so it's still affordable, but it's not the price of the single ones that you see everywhere in grocery stores. You get like 15 for $15. We could never do this price, because the price of the bulb, because it's specialty tulips, it's more than what we could do with $1 bulb. Yeah. So yeah, with the years we found that the $2.50 is a great price for us with our production costs. I know many flower farms are starting to do like forced tulips in the winter, and they're a bit more pricey because they have to minimal heat the greenhouses.
Yeah.
So they sell $3.75 a stem. I don't know all the prices, but you can get like super nice price if you have a little bit of room in your greenhouse and it's minimal heated.
Do you know, even compared to a lot of vegetables, is this one of the highest returns per square foot? Do you know?
I think it's pretty high. I don't
like
know all the numbers of the vegetables.
Yeah, the exact numbers.
I don't know, maybe tomatoes would be like the more highest yield and like prices, but this is a lot. Like in 1 square foot, I don't know, 2, 4, 10, like there's at least 50 flowers there.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
It is a lot, and it's early.
I mean, you just plant them, you make sure they don't have too much humidity, obviously here in the plastic caterpillar tunnel, and they just grow. They just want to grow. They have everything that they need in the bulbs.
Yeah, and the fact that you're planting this in November, so everything else is done, and then it's out by May, and you can then plant something in that spot.
Yeah.
Basically, you're not using up any valuable space, really.
No, it's super early, so I'll flip the beds, and I could, even with a super fast second crop, I could do maybe a last third fall crop of something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really a good option to like add a great cash flow in the springtime. If you have the market, they also come with foliage. So when you harvest, there's leaves, so you don't have to like think about putting foliage in it. When you just make a bunch of tulips, people are super happy. It makes big bouquet. They get like the money is worth what they buy, and then it lasts super long also in the vase. There's so many colors to choose from, so it's great. It's super easy to start with cut flowers. I would say go with like tulips for sure. So to harvest them, we take the fork and then we plant it like close but not too close to the tulips, and then we just slowly lift everything.
Just like doing any kind of root vegetable.
Yeah, that's it. So this is what we get. And we trim off all the little parts or little shoots. And then we put this in the container, and we put 50 of each. Like each container contains 50, around 50, so we can easily count them in the cold room.
And so what's the reason why you're pulling out the bulb with everything instead of cutting a stem?
So the bulb is like a battery, so it's reserve of energy, and the leaves are the solar panel. So they do the photosynthesis and they transfer the sun's energy into the bulbs. Now, like everything has grown, all the energy has been taken from the bulb and transformed into leaves, stem and flowers. So this is empty. If I cut it to get my long stem length to make bouquet, there will be no more leaves to put back the energy inside the bulb. If I wanted to make the bulb perennial, I would have to like leave at least two leaves on the stem to be for the bulb to be able to get the energy back inside the bulb. So this would leave me with this stem. So I won't be able to make a bouquet with that. So this is why you have to harvest like everything at once. We could like take a scissor or a snipper and cut it here and leave the bulb inside the soil. It would compost there. It's so much more trouble making this. And with the bulb, as I said, it continues to mature in the cold room. So the energy source is still attached to the stem, and I find that they store really well with the bulb. So this is why we try to keep the bulb attached to it, and that we don't keep the bulb after.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It's the first harvest of the year.
Oh wow.
It's good to...
It's a harvest birthday.
Yeah. It's good to make those move again.
I'm sure.
And this sound. So nice. The crispiness of the tulips.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask about the planting density. I'm pretty sure you load them in as almost tight as you can. Is that true?
Yeah, we put them like eggs in a egg cartoon.
Okay.
But I saw many people, like we place them with the pointing side up.
Yeah.
And we take time to like place them, and they're not to be touching each other.
And in a trench, right? You just
in
dig
a trench, we dig everything with a backhoe. But I saw a new technique that you just drop them.
Dump them in.
And it works. So I think this fall we'll
you might try that.
Yeah. Saving a lot of time. It's always evolving. Like flowers, cut flowers, it's still new that people gets into it. So there's new techniques every year, and it's super fun to like just be following this and learn all the time.
So those can last in the cold room all the way until Mother's Day, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, we just fill up the cold room, and then we get them out week by week.
Yeah, it really seems like a perfect early season crop for not just flower farms, but for veggie farms too.
Yeah, sure, it is.
Something to add to the offering. Well, thank you, Chloe, for showing us around and talking about tulips.
My pleasure, thanks to you.
And do you want to tell the audience, because maybe they don't know, about your course?
Yeah.
Your flower farming course that's both in French and now English.
Yeah, I'm super stoked that English people can have access to this course. So if you want to learn more about tulips, for example, or other crops, I explain everything, all the process step by step, with super nice videos and technical sheets also. It's super complete. I try to give all my tricks, and I'm super happy that it comes to the world and I can share all the knowledge that we've gathered here at Floramama with you.
Yeah, it's really a deep dive, full masterclass on flower farming.
Yeah,
and,
I'm super happy about it.
You're among the best, so
thanks.
Good person to learn from, people.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Chloe.
Thank you.